talk to Steve. And
but I don't know anything about Saw.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Scrollers Chat, Season 1, Episode 11. Joining us tonight on the panel, we have the one and only Mr. Steve Good.
Hey, guys.
And we've got Rick Hutchenson, Misty, and Misty, I cannot pronounce your last name to save my life. So you can introduce yourself in a minute. Mr. Karl Taylor, and then Florence Leedy. And you guys can introduce yourselves one at a time, starting with Mr. Steve Good. But I don't think you need to introduce yourself because everybody pretty much knows who you are.
Happy to. My name's Steve Good. I'm a blogger / pattern designer / geek. And I write the blog Scroll Saw Workshop. And if you want to find me, just type in my name or Scroll Saw Workshop into Google, and you'll see me. Thanks for having me, Lee. And, I write the blog Scroll Saw.
All right, Rick, it's your turn.
Yeah, Rick Hutchenson. Got a website, scrollsaws.com, and on Facebook, and just around.
All right, moving on to Misty.
Hi, Misty Valestin, president of SAW, Scroll Saw Association of the World, www.saw-online.com. Come see us and join.
All right, thanks, Misty. If you want to put yourself back on mute for a sec. All right, moving on to Mr. Karl Taylor.
Hey, thanks for having me tonight, Lee. I'm a little bit under the weather today, so if I don't talk a lot, that's why I usually talk too much. I appreciate you having me here. You can check out my YouTube channel, Woodworking and DIY Videos. I have a Facebook group called Scrollers on YouTube. Everybody's welcome to join, and I look forward for tonight's conversation.
All right, thanks, Karl. All right, and last but certainly not least, Florence Leedy.
Florence Leedy, live in Jamestown, Tennessee. I don't know what else am I supposed to say. Sort of trying to design, but you can find me on Facebook and that's probably actually the only place you can find me.
Yep. So you're just starting designing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And she actually has a couple patterns in the new Christmas edition of Scroller's Choice magazine, which I'll show you guys in a little bit when I show you guys what's going on with the magazine in a little bit. But Florence has a couple in there, and I think you're on the cover. I got to look again. I think you got one on the cover. So congrats on that, and I'll show them that later. But I just wanted to let them know that you are a designer. You don't have a website set up yet, right?
No, I'm trying to find out where to make one or where to go if I have to pay to have someone make one.
I'll help you with that because I know how to do it. So remind me later on, and I'll show you how to do it. But at least get started. All right. So tonight's topic is kind of not the topic, just kind of checking in with everybody. We're going to talk with Steve, and we're going to talk with Misty about SAW. So Steve, if you don't mind, I want to talk with Misty first.
Sure.
And then we can talk with you after that. So, Misty, if you want to unmute yourself, tell everybody about SAW and why they should join.
All right. Scroll Saw Association of the World. It's been around. It's a nonprofit organization, membership-based. It's been around since 1997, incorporated in 1998. It's a group of fellow scrollers that give lots of help to one another. We have a lot of seasoned veterans, and with our membership, we put out a quarterly newsletter that helps keep the membership informed of what we're doing. Articles, all of our members have a voice. Anybody can submit articles. In fact, our newsletter coming out here in the next week or two has got several articles from some of our members that submitted them and sent pictures of what they're doing. We've got local chapters. And through the local chapters, we try to keep the members updated on what they're doing. A lot of them do a lot of charity work. They do toys for kids around Christmas. We have one chapter that does a lot of things for the nursing home in their area in New Jersey. And they meet once a month and they show off what they've been working on. They have like a brag tables and they have demonstrations. They have people come in and teach. So they're always learning. They're working with trying to get the youth involved with scrolling. We have several chapters and individuals. Our ambassador in Nebraska is working with the youth in his area and some shop teachers, and they're going around to the schools and they're showing the scroll sawing and trying to get youth interested. Unfortunately, we have some schools across the United States that don't have wood shop anymore. So unless they have a family member doing it, they just don't know much about it, don't have access to it. So we're really trying to push, reaching out to our youth to keep this craft going, get the youth involved with it. We're just here for one another as far as like when you join. I'm in the process right now of redoing the disc to provide you with some free patterns. Once you're a member, you get access to the full website, and every newsletter that we've done is on there, and the patterns are on there that have been in all the newsletters. We work with a lot of businesses, Seiko, Judy Gale Roberts, Fox Chapel, Kathy Wise, P.S. Woods and Machines, and just trying to reach out to scrollers and give everybody as much information as possible. Rick and Steve, both on here, the panel tonight, they're supporters of us, so you can find out, a lot through their website also, and we're just interconnected and just trying to keep scrolling going.
All right, Misty, I'm trying to see if there's anyone that has any questions for you. Steve, you got any questions for Misty? I know you were talking to me yesterday and asking.
The main thing I just want to talk about is I've had the pleasure to meet Misty here just recently, and I had let my membership lapse a few years ago, and I signed up again, and I'm really happy to be back in the group with these people. It's so important that as a community we have representation for the greater good of the hobby, because as an individual you can't go out and talk to Seiko or DeWalt or somebody like that, but if you have an organization behind you and you can grow that organization to some level of strength, it gives you some influence in the community that you're a part of, and that's what we need. And what that means is everybody. I don't care if you just started scrolling yesterday or if you're like Rick and I and you've been scrolling since mud was invented. You can have a voice with these companies to tell them what you want. And I've learned from talking to Misty quite a bit now that she's an aggressive go-getter, and she's going to go get this done. And it's obvious to me just within our little bit of conversation that she is going to take this where we want it to be. So if you're out there listening, I don't care, like I said, if you just started yesterday, give Misty your input. Let her know what you want. Let her know what you want on the website.
I lost sound. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I lost Steve. I don't know what happened. Hang on, Steve. We lost you.
We can see you, but I can't hear you.
Steve, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you, but I don't. Hang on just a second.
Yeah.
For some reason, you cut out. So
I'm going to
You're
hang
back
up. I'm going to hang up and come back. I'll be back.
no, I think you're good now.
Okay, gotcha. So anyway,
You're fine.
I hope people heard what I was saying. It's just really important that we have an organization at the top of the community, because as individuals, we can't get anything done. But as a group, if the group is strong enough, then you actually have some representation in front of some of these bigger companies. And that's important, because if we don't have companies out there building machines for us or building products or accessories or supplies, then the hobby dies. And that's what you can't let happen. And then what Misty was talking about with bringing the children in, as an individual, you can do that too. If you have a child in the neighborhood and their parents are interested in their child learning the hobby, take a few minutes to you don't have to teach them how to do it. Just show them what it is. That's enough sometimes to spark the interest, where they can go back to their parents and say, look, this is something I'd really like to try.
Absolutely.
So SAW is one of those things that in my mind has to grow, or the community is going to continue to shrink. And none of us want that to happen. So what I would hope is that we all work with Misty, and provide her with the materials. If you're a pattern designer, or if you've designed a new product or something like that, get in touch with Misty and let her know what's going on, what you're doing, and contribute a little bit.
Yep, I plan on being as visible as possible. I was at the Dubuque, Iowa show. I didn't have a booth intentionally, because I wanted to be mobile, being the first time out in public, representing SAW. I didn't want to rely on everybody coming to the booth, so I stayed mobile and went around, met everybody, introduced myself, and just started letting people know that we're here. And yeah. I'm going to try to do everything I can. And when I say I am speaking for the board of SAW. All of us are on board, all 5 of us. We agree, we're on the same page. So please don't think when I say that I don't run this. We all run it together. It's a membership base. And the 5 of us, we're here because you guys believe that, we have the best interest of yours at heart, and I speak for all 5 of us. So the I means the full board of directors. But we just want the members to have a voice. We want it to grow. I had a booth this past week at the Artistry and Wood Show in Wilmington, Ohio, and it was a fantastic weekend. In fact, Rick, you're going to get bombarded here pretty soon with a bunch of pictures. I took over 200 pictures, so we can get some pictures on our website from the weekend, and it was, my mouth hurt from talking so much. It was nonstop. It was just a busy weekend.
And there were a lot of scrollers there. And I had a lot of people tell me this is the first year they've ever had this many scrollers. And I think the reason why is because there was more representation there. Seiko was there, and Scroll Saw Woodworking and Crafts was there, and you were there, and several other people. Judy Gale Roberts, of course, being there is huge. She's right. Going to draw a crowd all by herself. So, if we can continue to grow that, it would be really nice to be a bigger part of that show every year, because that show is phenomenal. It's so big.
Yes.
And you're bringing a lot of people through there.
Yes, I was very impressed at the number of carvers that stopped at the booth saying that, they carve, but they were interested in trying scrolling.
Right.
And there was a lot of crossover. So even though it was primarily a carver's wood show, yes, scroll sawing was very much a huge part of that show this weekend.
Yeah, it was. And some of the carvers were telling me that, they only use their scroll saw to cut out their blanks. And that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. But, while you're at it, why don't you try this other hobby? And I had several people that I think I convinced a little bit, to maybe try out the other side of it, especially if they're doing craft shows and stuff, because, a lot of those guys will spend 6 months to a year doing a carving, and building up inventory like that for a show is pretty tough. So, the scroll saw can kind of supplement their business in a lot of cases too. And most of them, they're so skilled that just about any craft they want to pick up, they're going to be good at. So, but anyway, back to what I was saying, we just need to support SAW, and we need to make sure that, that it continues to grow and gets bigger and bigger, because the bigger it gets, the more likely we are to get the tools and, like I said, the accessories and stuff. And, even this little things, what myself and Rick and all of us can do, we're all interested in helping, but we also don't want to step on anybody's toes. So, anytime that you know, that you want to ask for a favor from me, please ask. But at the same time, I don't want to give input that's not, you know, maybe welcome at some point. So, you know, I'm sure we're all going to be a little careful. So make sure you let us know, you know, what you need and what we can do to help.
Hey, Misty.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about joining the Maker Faire circuit that's going around? This weekend's going to be in Atlanta.
I have to be honest with you. Never heard of it. Don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's a new organization, and they're growing very, very strong and very fast. It's not just woodworking, but there's other hobbies that are included, like blacksmithing and knitting and anything.
Yeah, a lot of 3D printing.
Pretty cool.
A lot of 3D printing, CNC type work, stuff like that, laser work.
What's it called?
Maker Faire.
All right, I'll look it up and look into that. That's a great thing with being retired.
I know last year, I believe, Russ Clarity had he joined the booth in Tampa, and he said it was a great, great turnout down there.
Good. Okay.
There are a bunch of really highly motivated people to make things. You know, that's and they don't care what tool they use. They want to make things. And the good thing about that movement is the youth movement in the Maker Faire is really strong, really strong.
Good.
And so if you want to get some of the younger kids in, because they love the 3D printing and the laser and all that kind of stuff. And it's kind of funny. I get people all the time, you know, they want a lot of laser engravers and cutters and also CNC people use my pattern. So I get a lot of email from these people, and they're always shocked when I tell them, you know, that CNC might take 4 hours to cut that pattern, and I can do it in about 20 minutes. And it's like, well, why don't I just use the scroll saw to do it? Hey, good idea. Give it a shot. No. One of my Christmas ornaments I cut out using a very tiny bit on the CNC one time, and it took 8 hours to cut it, and easily could have cut it in 15 minutes. And Rick could have cut it in 5 minutes. So, you know, but they don't know that. They need to be exposed to that type of machinery.
Thank you, Karl.
I'm sure it won't be hard to find the website. Maybe Steve has it handy.
I'm already on it.
Oh, cool. Okay, if you could post it in the chat site, if you don't mind.
Oh, I can do that. I was on it on my other PC. Let me put their website over here in the chat room.
All right. Well, I'm just wanting to say real quick, because just want to tell you guys that I will take over as editor for Sawdust in winter/spring.
Good.
Winter and spring. So that edition of Sawdust will officially start as Sawdust editor. So if you guys want to submit any patterns or anything like that, articles, stuff like that, please make sure you contact me as well as Misty, so that I can work with Misty and we can put it in there. So I'm really happy to be Sawdust editor. I actually am really honored that the board actually selected me. So I'm really happy. I want to make Sawdust great again. So hopefully you guys can send in articles and patterns. So make sure that you guys do that so that we can grow it and make it a really nice newsletter.
Yeah, I just want to touch on that real quick, Lee, if you don't mind. Yes, now that we have an official editor, Lee, we're real happy to have you, and with your knowledge, with your magazine and everything. I just ask that all of our members, you have a voice, and we want you to be heard. We want to put your ideas out there. So if you're worried that you can't write an article, you don't have to write the article. We'll write it for you. If you just want to send us some, you know, your ideas, your thoughts, and we'll put it together for you. So don't let the fear of, oh my gosh, I have to write an article. You don't have to write it. We'll do that for you. So just get with us and we'll help get your word out and get your voice heard.
That's good. Great. What are your What are your goals over the next 6 months to a year, Misty? What are you working on first?
Right now, I am, of course, behind the scenes working on the website as far as in regards to there's a lot of information and it's intimidating for some people. And some people say, well, I don't care about all the information. I want to get to this, this, and this. I just want to try to obviously bring it up to the times. No offense, Rick, but it's outdated. And we want to just put some simpler make the homepage a little simpler. We're not getting rid of any of the information on there. So many people worked hard and long before Google came about to find all this information. It's all in one spot. And the great thing about our website is, unless you're good with keywords, you're not going to spend 3 hours on Google to find all this information. It's all right there on our website. Pat Lepori, she did a lot of work back in the day trying to obtain all this information and put it together and get it in one spot. So there's tons of knowledge on our website. There's some things with some areas with it that I want to make current in regards to a little easier to tap to join. And then, of course, we've just rearranging. But so I'm working on that behind the scenes. And then the next thing that is the biggest thing important to us is growing the membership. And I want to be visible. I'm going to try to be at as many shows as possible. Like I said, with being retired, I've got that liberty of being able to travel. My husband and I, we have an RV, so we can up and go pretty much conveniently when we want. I also want to go around and meet the chapters. And I know we don't, we have 11 chapters currently, and I did get a request for a chapter kit from a new member this past weekend. And you don't have to be in a chapter for me to come out and meet you. If you're in an area where we're going to be and you can't make a show, call me. I don't have a problem trying to meet up with people. You know, we can do some Facebook time. We can try to do, I know Lee I know you'll do it. I know Charles Deering has offered to do, like, once a month, have a saw night where if members want to talk with the board and just things like that, then we can just have question and answer night about the membership. We can talk about ideas. It can be just anything like that. So my initial is just to work on the website, grow the membership, and let the members know that we're there. And I also want the members to communicate with me as far as what they're wanting from us, because I'm here to help the membership. This is not a personal agenda. So we can't put something together if we don't know that the members want it. So we just want to hear our members and then try to act on it and get us going.
One of the things I'd like to do, Misty, and again, I don't want to step in someplace where I'm not, welcome's not the right word, but where I'm ahead of the game or whatever. But I would love to do some advertising, and I'm not talking about for a fee now, just, gratis advertising on my blog. I send out almost 1 million newsletters a month. So there's a lot of people that see what I send out. And I know, because I get these emails all the time, people want to start clubs. They don't know how to do it. And you guys can help them do that. So
yes, we can.
And that's a key, because the more people we get working together in clubs, the faster the hobby grows.
Absolutely.
So I would love to be able to do some of that with you.
Hey, Steve, not to interrupt you, but we actually have a question about that over on the YouTube page.
Okay.
Excuse me. Dave Hart asked, how can clubs find new members, and what's some tips on how to find more members? I can tell you, when we started our club, how we did it was we went to a local hardware store called Hartville Hardware, and we put flyers out at the hardware store, and we put, this is a new club forming, this is where we're meeting, and we just basically made a flyer with all our information on it. and then that got us people or people that were the original members of the club. And then another thing that we did with the Hartville Hardware Store is we did a in-store scroll saw presentation when they had their they have a tool show twice a year. And what we would do is we would take the saws down there and we would demo at the tool sale. And we would do it, used to do it twice a year, then we would do it only once. So we would do it either there right before the holidays, or then they have another sale in spring. So we would go down either the holiday one or the spring one, and we'd take the saws and demonstrate. So that would bring us a lot of people too. So something, Dave, to consider if you have a local hardware store or somewhere where you can get out in the public, and the public can see the saws and see what you do. Somehow doing live demos, wherever it may be, doing live demos is probably the best way to attract people, because then people can see what you guys are doing. That's basically how we did it. So
yeah,
I don't know if these other guys
add to that was, yeah, we have through SAW, we have flyers and for posting in hardware stores, lumber yards, anywhere you've got a bulletin board where people go for supplies in your area, and you can hang them up, and that right there is a key thing. Plus your grocery stores, anywhere in your area where you've got bulletin boards, you can go and you can post all that. I know you guys just created a Facebook page, and you guys are trying to get your local chapter growing, and actually that is a current thing with all the local chapters right now. A lot of them have older members and not a lot of younger members. So all of the chapters right now are working on trying to bring in new members and younger members so that the chapter can keep going. And that's the best thing you can do is just hit up all your places in town, just like if you were going to go put up a garage sale, ad somewhere. It's the same concept. If you have youth community places like YMCAs and stuff like that in your bigger communities, put them up there. Your library, but it's just a matter of putting the flyers up and just going around town and taping them up. That is the best way that I know of.
Let me take that one step farther, because there's this theory called the long tail. And the long tail is that there's a huge market out there, and the IBMs of the world have the big fat end of the tail. And then it shrinks out smaller and smaller and smaller to where you get down to people like me that are on the short end of the tail. Well, it used to be that if I could go out and market my website to my local area, and I did it with bulletin boards and local marketing, and if I got 1% of the city of Lexington that I live in, I might get a couple hundred members. But if I take that same 1% and I expand it to the whole world, then I get 100,000 members. So use online places like Lumberjocks. Go start a forum there. There's thousands of woodworkers that go to Lumberjocks, and a lot of them would be interested in scroll saw work if they just had some visibility to it. So use Lumberjocks, email me, let me post it on the blog. I'm always looking for something new to post. In any place online that you can get the word out, you're going to get a much higher percentage of return than you will anything locally. And what you'll find is there's a lot of people, if they're interested in a hobby like this, they're willing to drive 75 miles to go to a meeting. They're only going to go once a month. So 75, even 100 miles, I see it all the time. People will travel that far for their passion. So don't just limit yourself to the local area where you're at. Try to get it spread out. If you are going to post it on different things, take your different members that are already there, and odds are they're going to live in the surrounding counties. Give those flyers to them and let it post them in their stores too, and let that spread out. Let it get as big as it can.
Hey, Lee, let me add something to that also. I'm one of the co-founders of the Gwinnett Woodwork Association. We started it back in 1997. Still running strong as ever. One of the easiest and best ways to advertise in your own local community is just wearing a simple T-shirt with your name on it. You'll be surprised how much that draws attention. You can get a T-shirt made for $10 nowadays.
Yep. or a sign to go on the back of your truck.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
So I think there's a lot of ways out there to grow these clubs. I've run computer clubs in the past and relied on just word of mouth, and was always surprised at how effective that is. So even just to have your members out there talking to people, you know, about what they do and their hobby and how much they like it, even just that can bring in new members. And you know, if you don't have a meeting location, just meet at your local restaurant and have breakfast some morning. Even just that's a good way to get started.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah,
doesn't take a lot of money.
another good idea for a meeting location is your public library. They might not let you take the saws and use them, but you can still meet for free, which is something you might want to consider when you're just starting the club, because you won't have a lot of money yet for club dues and things of that nature. So later on, you can pay for a meeting space, but we just used the library. And they didn't let us use the saws there, but we could still some things of that nature. We could still demo things on the TV and things, and on the computer. So we did that.
There's a lot of libraries around the country right now that are starting their own maker spaces. We have 2 libraries here locally that they have 3D printers, and I've been talking to them about getting them a scroll saw to go in there. They have 3D printers, laser printers, CNC machines, and those are right in the library, and it's all free. You know, you go in there, you take a class to, a safety class, and then you're given an hour or 2, however much you need for a project. And so they're starting to build out these maker spaces. Also received an email the other day from a company called Maker 13, and I'm going to be doing a demonstration in one of their stores over in Indiana sometime next month. And so those are starting to grow around the country too. And if you sign up for these maker spaces, usually they come through the Maker Fair, Misty, that we were talking about earlier. When you go to those places, if they don't have a scroll saw, mention it to them, because especially the Maker 13 that I'm working with, they're really interested in putting tools in that can allow people to be creative. And when I showed the young lady at Maker 13 that I could cut the same project on a scroll saw in a fraction of the time that they could do it on a CNC machine, they were instantly interested. They didn't even know what a scroll saw was. They'd never seen one before. So,
all right.
We have one of our current chapters. They meet at a Hobby Lobby once a month.
right.
So Hobby Lobby, Michaels, all of them are willing to let people have meetings, and then of course hardware stores and wood stores.
Yeah, we're kind of lucky where we are, because we're in Cuyahoga Falls, and our club meets at it's an old school, and they let us meet there, and we can bring the saws.
I just pulled up the Maker 13 website. If you just type in Maker 13 into Google, it comes up, and I was trying to see how many places around the country they have. I'm not sure if it shows a list here or not, but they're trying to build them out. You do have to pay to be a member there, but they have so many machines it would probably be worth it.
I'm watching the chat over here. Dave Hart says he meets at a firehouse. That's an option too, if the firehouse is willing to let you meet there.
And some people, they're not a saw club, but I know one of our members belongs to a club that they take turns going to each member's house.
Yeah,
They take the saws in each garage, and they just take turns doing it that way. So that's, nothing is out of the question. Just think outside the box and do whatever you can.
Carl's group down there in Georgia, the Gwinnett Woodworkers Association, I know they do a lot of get-togethers. They especially have one member who has the dream shop, the shop that everybody wants, and they meet over there at his place all the time. That's a great way of doing it.
Yep.
They even have barbecues, I think, out in his backyard, don't they, Carl?
Yeah, once a year we do. But we have several members that have 1,000 square foot shops.
Oh, you mean you're not the only one with the dream shop?
No, I don't have a dream shop. My dream shop is an old bedroom my daughter used to stay in.
a couple of things I'd like to see, Misty, on the website from just taking a few minutes the other day is one of the most valuable pieces of information on your website is made by a gentleman here on the forum tonight, and that's Rick, that his ACES video.
Yep.
I mean, there's so much information in that video that video alone is worth the price of a membership, but it needs to be updated. It needs to get on a real hosting system other than Acid Planet, and it needs to be, at least in 720p. So if you could work on doing something like that, I don't know if Rick has the time to do that kind of stuff anymore, but if you could update, that video to where it was easier to view and not postage stamp size, that would be the first thing I would like to see, because he basically gives you a complete scroll saw class in that one video.
I'll tell you what, that I had that playing all weekend, and I don't know how many people stopped and was just watching it. That program, Rick, I was not exaggerating when I told you that you were the hit of the weekend. Everybody stopped and was watching your video. And I didn't have sound on it Saturday because Saturday was just so busy you couldn't have heard anything. But I had sound going Sunday, and I think I had more people stop to watch it Sunday with the sound, and that kind of made me regret not having the sound on it on Saturday. But I was getting questions like crazy about, well, what kind of saw is that, and about his blades and things like that. It caught everybody's attention. And we've got a member in Arizona that has recently requested the ACES program, and the ACES program is what I'm trying to use to get out to people, to show to youth and to try to pique interest. And unfortunately, Rick, we've got to show that you've aged. So yeah, we need you to do a more modern day one, Rick, but with the same content. It's excellent information.
Yeah, did I just volunteer Rick for something? I hope not.
I've been asking him for hinting at it.
I guess I'm trying to figure out what you're wanting more modern on it. I know the video on the website we've got shrunk down because back when we put it on there, high resolution videos took forever to play, and most people were on phone modems and couldn't get them. But we could upgrade that to a higher resolution. If you get the DVD, you got a pretty good copy of it.
Okay.
I think that's pretty sharp and clear. And when you say Misty?
Yeah. I thought the DVD looked pretty good, but now I don't know anything about, like you said, the 780p.
720p, just the lowest high def.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be that. I would just today you can have such high resolution video. It doesn't really matter as long as it's viewable. It's just that I noticed that the one that plays on the website is basically postage stamp size. But if there's another version I didn't see, then that's fine.
Well, we have it on DVD.
Oh, okay.
And that's what I was playing over the weekend. I had it playing in the DVD player on my laptop, and but I don't know anything about like that. I know that Acid Planet, I can't get into it, so I've never been able to view it on there. I've just been able to view some of the captions on the website.
Right. Well, you could even host it on, if you don't have a hosting service where you can host, because there's a lot of bandwidth involved in streaming out high def video. So if you don't have a unlimited hosting service, then you could even just go to someplace like YouTube and you don't have to make it a public video. You can have it to where the only people that can find it are the people that have the link from your website. So, something like that, if you need to in the future, there's plenty of places to host it if you don't have the space.
Something like that possible, Rick?
I think so. I'm pretty sure I've still got the original on my computer. So, I mean, I could go do it as a YouTube, but I could try to put it up on the website. I don't think we've got a bandwidth problem with the website. It's just when we put it up, we had a lot of people still on phone modems and weren't that fast.
Right.
If you guys don't mind, I've got a couple of people asking me over in the chat to share the info for the Ohio picnic next May.
Okay.
He has to sign off before the end of the show. So if you don't mind, I'm going to share it with him now so that he can sign off.
Oh, absolutely. Sorry.
All right. Then we'll come back to that. I just want to share it with him because he says he has to sign off. So, Jerry, I'm going to share screen with my screen, and I'll show you here, the info. All right. All right, so, okay, can you guys see my screen all right?
It's coming up.
Okay. So if you guys, real quick here, at the top of this page, this website, it's NEOS Club, all one word, .wixsite.com/home. It's NEOS, so it's short for Northeastern Ohio Scrollers. And this is also our club page, so if you guys are interested in the club at all, you can go here as well. But all the information for the show is right here on this front page. It says the Northeastern Ohio Scroll Saw and Woodworking Expo, Friday, May 18th from 9 a.m. to 4:30. Saturday, May 19th, 9 a.m. till 4:30, hosted by the Northeastern Ohio Scrollers. And then it's right here at the Quirk Cultural Center, 1201 Grant Avenue, Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. The vendor registration form is on here, as well as the class registrations. As of right now, you do know that Steve Good will be in attendance. So, right, Steve?
I'll be there.
So you guys can come meet Steve.
And I'm only
And Misty will be there.
Yes, Saul will
So
be
you
there
can
too.
come meet Misty as well. So if you guys want to check out these classes, Bruce Worthington will be doing an Intarsia class. That's in the morning. And then there's a biography class. Right after that, there's a Scroll Saw Basics class. And then Murray Newton is doing a Scroll Saw box making class. And then Jessica Boehm is making patterns using her iPad or a tablet. And she'll show you that the app she uses for that and how to do that. And then Holly Denny will be doing a pen making class. And then on Saturday, the classes are pretty much the same thing. They're just kind of mirrored. And then dinner will be Friday night. I'm still figuring out what it's going to be, but it's probably going to be catered, and then we'll host it there at the actual Quirk Center. And then this, of course, is a Scroll Saw contest. If you guys want to sign up for that. And if you go back to the main page, here's some suggested lodging for you guys. I added this the other day because there were some people asking for it. This Cherokee Park Family Campground is an RV campground. That is the closest one to the show for RVs. We are not allowed to have RVs in the parking lot. We found that out the last time we did it. So this is 15 to 20 minutes from the show. If you guys can find one closer, but this is the closest one that I could find, which is why. So I just put it on here. And then if you click on that, it'll link right to it. And you can see there's all the information for it. And then go back here. And then this is the Country Inn. This one's probably 5-10 minutes down the road from the show. So this is probably the closest one to the show. And then the Snorwood Inn and Suites is in Hutchenson. This one's probably 12 minutes down the road, down Route 8. And so this one's pretty close as well. These would be the two closest ones. This is a pretty nice hotel. We almost actually had an event at this hotel. So we had a conference center and all of that. So we actually looked at this hotel and the rooms and everything when we were considering it for doing the show. But we actually decided to do it at the Quirk Center instead. But if you guys have any questions on this, feel free to get in touch with me. I can answer any questions you have. Okay. So that's that for the show.
Looks good so far.
And I'm trying to see if there's any questions over here. Haley, Steve Rick Farms. Hello, Donna. I see you now. Over there in the chat. Don't know why they show them. Okay. All right, so I will take this off of screen share now. I think it's off of screen share now. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
I think it is now. So, since we've talked to Misty, it's your turn, Steve.
I think I've already done much.
Tell everybody what's
Sorry.
Tell everybody what's going on with the blog. What you got going on? And
Well, of course, the last few days I've just been busy up at the show and kind of got behind on all my email and my custom ornaments and all that. I'll probably be up all night tonight trying to get caught back up. But most of you probably know that I work all night. I don't work during the day too much. I generally, if you look, you'll see most of my posts go out about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. So I'm basically just getting started. So hopefully I'll get caught back up here for anybody that's listening that's waiting on orders. Those Christmas ornaments, I've got them down where they're automated pretty good, and I can do them pretty fast, but luckily I get a lot of orders, so it still takes some time. So I'm about 2 or 3 days out on getting those caught back up. And other than that, anybody out there that has pattern ideas, that's what I'm always looking for. Everything I do is easy other than ideas. Ideas are the hard part. So if anybody out there wants to send in suggestions, I don't always get to them, but I always log them and put them in my hopefully to-do list, and I'm happy to do patterns like that. But the main thing I wanted to talk about tonight was what we've been talking about, and that is salt, because I'm so passionate right now of believing that that's such an important part of our community that we've got to make sure that it stays healthy. And like I say, now that I think Misty's there, and I can tell how much passion she's putting into, making salt better than it already even is, that I feel real comfortable that it's moving in the right direction. And I just want to implore everybody out there to put your 2 cents in, or offer any help or anything you can do to make that grow, because for me personally, it's important for me that the hobby gets bigger. I earn my income from the back end. I give everything away, and I make my money off of advertising and like I said, the back end of it. So if the hobby doesn't grow, neither does my business. So it's important for me to a selfish reason, but it's also important just simply because I love this hobby. I've been doing it for a lot of years, and I would do it even if it wasn't for my blog. I would still be out there in the garage making stuff. So it's important for a lot of different reasons to all of us, and especially for the companies out there like Seiko, some of these smaller companies that they depend on a fairly small niche of woodworkers out there to make their money. And if you grow that niche, the more successful they are. Everybody wants to see new scroll saws, except for maybe Rick. I think he's already got one of all of them. So other than him, I think we all like to see new machines show up every once in a while. And so it's really important that we have an organization that helps us grow that community. But other than that, if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to talk.
Actually, there's one comment for Misty from Jeff Robinson. He says, Misty, we have a young man in the scroll saws with the DFW scrollers. So when you were in our area, you might want to ask his dad if you could do a video.
I only heard part of what you were saying, Lee. He's a DFW scroller.
Yeah, he's a young man that scrolls with the DFW scrollers. And they said, so if you're in the area, you might want to ask his dad if he could do a video.
Oh, okay.
That just reminded me, Misty, of another thing I was thinking about the other night. I get a lot of requests from readers who are either handicapped themselves and or they have children that are challenged in some way or another. And I've worked a lot with these people. I'm getting ready to meet with a doctor here, hopefully this next weekend, who works with MS patients. And we're going to put together a little program on how to use the scroll saw to help these people maintain their motor movement as long as they possibly can. And I think that's another area that saw could get really involved in if they're not already. And there's a huge market out there for using the scroll saw as a therapy to help people. I know we recently had a gentleman who was legally blind and they installed a large screen monitor above his scroll saw with one of these small cameras mounted to the scroll saw, and he actually scrolls looking at this monitor up there. It's blown up like 10 size normal, and he can actually scroll that way. He can see his hands, plus he can see the lines on the pattern. He couldn't use a magnifying glass. He said it wasn't enough, but this monitor actually worked for him. So I know Rick's the kind of guy, he can come up with, he's such a creative person. He can come up with ideas, to help people like that. And I'm willing to help as much as, and I know Karl and everybody on this board right here, can help out in that as far as even just ideas. So that's another place I think Saw could be real helpful to the community, because there are a lot of handicapped and physically challenged people out there that would love to use the scroll saw to not only maybe earn a little extra money from selling their projects, to just the therapy of it. It's a great part of the hobby that I get to spend quite a bit of time with.
I'm so glad that you mentioned that, Steve, because I am I have fibromyalgia, and I have spinal fusions. My doctor just declared me disabled, and I don't know why I didn't think of that myself, but that's why I want everybody sharing their thoughts with me, because I'm one person. We all need the ideas. I can definitely help people if they've got questions, because scrolling helps me control my fibromyalgia.
Right.
It is very therapeutic, and thank you so much for touching on that.
Well, just little things like having a stand for a scroll saw that's accessible, for the physically challenged people. And I think Hawk used to sell somebody used to sell a stand with wide legs, but even just, a DIY pattern with a wide leg stand, anything like that we could put up on the website. It's just a matter of the first person making one. Then you just share the plans with everybody.
Absolutely.
Even little things like that can make a big difference.
I don't know his name. He's got the adaptation for the the stand for the DeWalt that makes it, it tilts the front down, doesn't it?
Right.
He come up with his own stand. Yeah, things like that. Yeah.
Well, I had a guy email me just this morning. He uses a car jack, and it's mounted underneath the table that the saw is mounted to, and of course the jack handle comes out, and he just turns it, and it raises the saw up to any angle he wants. So there's all kinds of ideas out there that people have, that they've built for themselves, that your site is a perfect place to have that information. So that would be a great addition if we could make that happen. And then sharing the success stories of people. I get this a lot too. I get a lot of success stories where people call me or email me and they say, I've been able to do this because of this. Those success stories are as important as anything else, because they encourage the other people who say, I can't. Then they see that they can, and they'll jump in there and give it a try. I'm working with one guy out of Virginia right now that his son has been mentally handicapped, since birth, but he found out that he loves to do the scroll saw. So we're working with him, with a lot of simple patterns that he can make. And the gentleman, the father, actually just quit his job to go build this business with his son. And so that's going to be a success story. I can see it coming, because his father's such a go-getter. He's going to make it happen one way or another. And he's doing it for the love of his son. And there's a success story there that people are going to like to see, and it's going to teach people,
Absolutely.
That others can do the same thing.
Absolutely. For all you that are out there watching, please email me, Misty Valestin at saw-online.com, and these are the exact things that we're wanting. Even if you're not a member, share. Saw is all about helping one another. So if you've got something out there, share it with us.
Hey, Steve, does Seiko have one of those for the extra wide for the saw?
I don't believe so. I think and Rick probably knows this better than I, because this is going back quite a few years. I think it was the Hawk that had the wide leg stand.
Well,
But my memory's so bad anymore, I can't remember.
it was
Hawk had one.
It
Yeah,
was
Hawk had one because I saw.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Carl?
It was the
Actually-
RBI that had these wheelchair stand for their saw.
Right. But I know I've seen people build those, themselves. And I'm never a big proponent of people building their own stands because I've found the ones that come with the machines are usually pretty well made. But if you're in a situation where you can't use that stand and you need a wheelchair accessible stand, if somebody could come up with a nice set of plans, that they would be willing to donate to saw. And then, who knows, even at some point you might find an organization or a group or a club out there that was willing to take on the job of building these stands for these people to help bring them into the hobby. You're not talking, you're talking about using construction grade 2x4s. You're not talking about spending a lot of money to build it. So, even things like that might be something that in the long run, SAW could put people in the position to say, look, if you show this need, we're happy to try to, find the resources for you to get it done.
Rick, I have a question for you from the YouTube channel. They're asking you what your website is so they can check out your patterns.
Scrollsaws.com. SCROLLSAWS.com.
You know how much I would pay to have that URL?
How much? Rick is saying, how much? How much? Hey, Lee, I'd like to make an offer if you don't mind.
All right.
Okay. Anybody that emails me and put in the address, the header, Scrollers Chat, anybody that emails me with the correct answer until the end of the month, I will send them 6 free drill bits that will go with your scrolling. And the question is, when RBI first started selling their scroll saws, what 4 birds were the saws named after?
Ooh.
Don't say it online. Don't say it, Steve. But anybody who emails me the answer to that and put in the header, Scrollers Chat, I will send them at my expense 6 drill bits of assorted sizes.
Cool.
All right. There you go, guys. Carl will send those to you. All right.
I might regret this.
So real quick, I'm going to show these guys the new holiday issue. So for everyone who hasn't seen it yet, going to make sure. Okay. This is the new holiday edition. Can you guys see it all right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the cover for the holiday edition for this year. That's what's on the cover for Florence. This is Florence's witch hat.
Good job, Florence.
Yeah, it's really cool. And then this is Bruce Worthington's Intarsia penguin. He made 3 different ones, so that's one of them, and then there's 2 other ones in the magazine. This bird's right here is Jessica Boehm's birds. The ho 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 with the heart is actually my snowflake that I designed. And then we have the ad for PS Wood Machines. Of course, we have an ad for SAW. Misty, take a look at that. Tell me if you want that one still. If you don't, we'll make another one. There's the ad for the the show for next year is in here. So as you guys can see, again, it's May 18th and 19th in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. Here is the Ghost bandsaw box. That's by Laurie Steele Bernard. And this one's the witch hat that was on the cover. There's the pattern for it. And then, of course, the information for Florence.
Florence, I love that.
Mm-hmm. It's cool.
Thank you.
See if I can zoom in. So yeah, you guys can see. I'll zoom out. And then there's this one. This was made by Sasha Javinsky. It's like a fall farm, which I thought was kind of cool for the fall edition. And then this one here was Florence's as well. So you got a few in here. This is a couple of Florence's Christmas ornaments. And on the next page is hers as well.
You did learn that envelope tool, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
And then this was the one that was on the cover. Birds by Jessica Boehm. And then there's my snowflake. And this one is also by Jessica Boehm. A little word art Christmas tree. And then this one's by Yannikai Luke Sorensen. Surprising Santa. She's from Denmark. And then this, of course, is the Three Penguins in Tarsia, designed by Bruce Worthington. So there's the first penguin who was on the cover. And there's these two penguins.
Those are neat.
And then you got the pattern down here. And then that's the back cover. So you guys can see I put all of the, well, this isn't all of them, but this is most of them with the exception of, I think, 2. Most of the covers are right here. So you can go on and check them out on the website. And again, the website is Scroller's Choice
Carl, I
mag.
got the answer.
/home.
Go on.
What did Misty say? What did you say, Misty?
I need Carl's email. I know the name of the 4 birds.
Did you look it up or did you know it?
No, I cheated. I looked it up. Wait a minute. No, I knew it. I knew it. Yeah, I knew it.
You get 5 drill bits.
I'm sorry. I can't lie. I'm a terrible liar.
I just posted my email address.
Misty.
Yeah.
Dave Hart suggested, how about a weekly email to the members of SAW? I don't know exactly what
I've had
he means by
people
that.
request that, and that's something. Rick, is that possible now that we have all the email situation changed, or is a mass email possible? I know before it was not.
The problem you get into a mass email anymore is a lot of times they're knocked out as spam because there's multiple emails coming from one address.
Ask me about that.
So how many, if I did it in groups, like if I did it like by state, if I emailed everybody in one state, what's a safe number to email at a time?
Steve might have a better answer for that.
That's really tough because mass email is very, very expensive. I mean, if I had to pay for the emails that I send out, I'd be spending over $2,000 a month just in emails. It's very expensive. But what you can do but this is, again, it doesn't fall into what I think Saul's going to want to do. If you use a blogspot, a Google blog, then you can use FeedBurner, which is a free email service. And that's the only, I send out, like I said, I send out about 1 million emails a month. And I would be broke in a hurry, but I'm able to do that through Google for free. So that's about the only way you can do it. But again, it talks about, you have to tell me what the numbers are, because if you're talking under 1,000, then you can probably get away with doing it through your local host. If you get over 1,000, your local host is going to have a problem with it. And then it's going to start getting expensive. So it just depends on the numbers you're talking about. I'm sending out, to about 50,000 readers. So that adds up pretty quick. But if you're talking under 1,000, you could probably get away with it.
Yeah, we're looking at probably about, I'm going to say 300 because of the number of our members that do not use computers.
Right. Yeah, that would not be a big problem. The main problem you have there is you have to find a program that will actually send those emails out to all those email addresses. I actually wrote one of those programs. I don't know if I still have it around or not, but you basically just give it a database of all your email, and it takes the same email and sends it all out. You may have to call your local host and warn them that you're getting ready to send out, that number of emails, just so they don't flag it as spam. And then what you have to do to keep the other end from going into their spam box is you have to ask your members to put the email address that you're sending out in their contact list. And then you're generally, that won't fix everything, and depending on what software they're using and what, adware and all that kind of stuff they're using, but it'll fix 90% of it.
Right.
More.
Now, when I was sending out my email list, I was going to, at the end, I was like at 7,000 that I'm sending out per list. And if you get hosted by HostGator, if you go to their cPanel, you can sign up for an email list where you can send out up to 5,000 in one list, but you can have multiple lists.
Right.
With different names. Like you could have,
and every hosting
one,
service is different.
two, and on up.
Yeah, they all offer something like that, but they're all different, and it just depends on the service. I'm trying to look to see what MailChimp
Yeah, it was
is.
included for free.
Even some of the online companies like MailChimp, for $10, let's see, for free, their service is forever free up to 2,000 subscribers. So you could even use a service like MailChimp for the list you're talking about, and that would be free. And that includes up to 12,000 emails per month. And the nice thing about something like MailChimp is you can format the email to look really nice. It won't be, text only. You can format it just like a web page. So that would be an option for you all that would work. And then for $10 a month, you can go up from there.
You could put that.
I'm sorry, Rick. Go ahead.
You could write that up and put it right there on the homepage on SAW in that new recent news box that you usually write in.
Yeah.
You could put the newsletter right there. You don't have to send it out. People would come there and see it.
And that is something that it needs to be looked at, because, well, when I first took over in July, when I sent out the letter to everybody and was asking people to contact me, I've had several contact me. In fact, I've got a list of about 20 people that have said, give me the newsletter in digital. I'll take it digital. If it'll save us money, I'll take it digital. Yeah. And I think that's great. But in so many people, they still want that hard copy. And I get that, people like going through and I'm guilty. I'm one of them myself. But I think if we can, yes, I agree. Let's put that up there on the front. And then, is there a way to put it so that a non-member doesn't see that?
Hey, Misty.
Yeah.
I don't want to disagree, but I usually disagree here. You got to go to the members. Don't expect them to come to you. If that newsletter is in any way going to help you build your following, or if it is any way going to add value to it, don't make them come get it. Send it to them. You want to push. You never want to force a reader or a customer to have to do even one more click.
Okay.
Send it to their email. You will get, and I've studied this a lot, you're going to get,
yes, and that's what I'm doing. I'm sending it to them email.
Yeah, you're going to get 80% better results if you send it to their email as opposed to letting them come to the website. Of my readers, I have about somewhere around 100,000 readers. 50,000 of them do the email. So that's 50% of my readers right there. And they won't come. They don't even know the website exists most of the time. They just get the email newsletter and they assume that's what it is. Okay. So it's really important. You can have it online also, which is how I do it, but you also want to send it to them.
Right. And Rick, it is on there under the publication, correct, Rick? When it's sent to you, which we're going to make sure is done.
The sawdust?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on there. Whenever I get the copies, they go onto the website. But I
Right.
thought you were talking just a newsletter, not a sawdust.
Right.
Right. Like,
Actually,
like what
Dave
was
was
asking
The
to
weekly.
do.
he was asking for a update, just like not a whole newsletter, just an update.
Right. And there is a spot on the home page, and I try to, right before the show, I put a little paragraph, an update about the weekend. I try to keep that with current information and what's going on. That's what I try to do with that on the home page.
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure, absolutely.
Let's get back on topic and not do the techniques or of saw email lists, if you don't mind.
No problem. Yeah, we can.
What was the topic? I forget.
That can be saved for later.
The topic was Dave Hart was asking about sending out weekly emails to the members. That's what the original topic was. Dave had asked that, and that's how we ended up on the email talking about that with mass emails. I know it was something that through our SAW emails has been possible, but that is something that in a way, by keeping it on the homepage, that's going to keep people coming, the members coming to the website. So, Dave, that is something that I will make sure I continue doing, is keeping current happenings there on the homepage, on the news section.
Steve, there's a question for you. Joseph Poindexter wants to know if you ever made it to Keim Lumber.
I did not. My wife was pretty tired, and so was I when we left, and I understood it was a pretty good drive up there. But I do plan on making that trip. Anybody that doesn't know what he's talking about, there's a lumber/tool store in Ohio. It's in Charm, Ohio, and the name of it is KEIM, and it's an amazing store. If you stop by their website, Ray Seymour from Seiko happened to be up there, and he called me and told me about it, and I'm definitely planning on making a trip. So,
yeah, maybe when you're up here for the show, we can head down there. It's not too far.
Are you pretty close to it? Are you pretty close to it, Lee?
Probably about maybe an hour or less.
Yeah. Okay.
Not that bad. I go there sometimes to get wood. I've been there before a few times.
Is it as amazing as it looks on the web?
Yes, absolutely. They have a scrap bin there where you can get scraps, like little tiny scraps from, little to, but they also have like just tons of pen blanks. They've got exotic woods. Whereas like I go to Hartfield Hardware, but they don't have all the exotics. So Keim has all the exotics. So I got to go down there, and they have some really, really nice wood.
Looks like they carry a lot of tools too.
It's very expensive though. So
Hey,
some of the
Steve, question for you.
Yeah.
Back above your left shoulder, is that your 3D printer with a project on top?
Well, that's not a project from the 3D printer. That's just the box that I just made for my ornaments that I'm doing this year. It's just one of the display boxes for the ornament. But that is my 3D printer sitting there, yeah, which I still use a lot. And you can't see it, but I just recently, and this will be heresy here on this group, but I just recently installed a laser cutter, a 40-watt laser cutter over there on the side too. So I'm working on some projects for that, which I'll see if I've got one here handy. I'm thinking about doing signature coins for people, and I don't have one here handy, but basically it's a 1-inch coin that you can have, handcrafted by your name and some graphics that you can actually embed into your projects. You've probably seen them before in some arts and crafts shows where they embed their signature into the piece. So that's part of what I'm doing with it.
Medallions.
Yeah, medallion would be a better word for it, right? I call it a signature coin, but I think medallion is the better word. Here's one right here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on the camera, but this one, of course, you'll be able to see that it says your name here, which your name would be up there at the top. And then it's got that little tree, and I don't know, is that in focus enough to even see it?
Go back a little bit. Oh, it was in focus, but it went out.
Yeah, but anyway, you kind of get the idea. It's just a small coin, and then of course I would engrave their name across the top. And I'm just trying to see. I don't want to sell them if I can't sell them really cheap, because
There,
do
that
I?
looks good there.
Right there. Right
Yep.
there is good.
All right.
Perfect.
So it'll just be your name in a circle across the top, and then handcrafted by, and then some kind of little logo. And I can even customize the logo for, different craft businesses. But I've got to get it. I can get the. I don't want to cut the coins themselves because they look bad. I just want to do the engraving. So I'm actually getting the coins and putting them in a jig to do the engraving on. And they look pretty good, especially after you can see there's one that's got my name on it. They look pretty good, and they're a neat little option to add to that one special gift you're going to give away. But I've got to get it down to where the price is cheap enough that I don't feel bad selling them. I feel guilty to sell this little itty bitty piece of wood for very much money. So I've got to get the cost down, which I think I can, but I'm working on it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. And then you would just take, and like I say, if this was the project you were going to put the coin in, of course this is small, but you just take a Forstner bit, a 1-inch Forstner bit, and drill in a 1/8 inch hole, and then you just glue the medallion into the piece and then finish over the top of it. Makes a really neat way of signing your pieces, especially those special pieces, So, and I know a guy that actually still makes them. But he sells them for $49 for one sheet. And I think there's 40 of them on a sheet. And that's just out of the range of what most people are going to be able to spend. I know there's people out there that can do it, but, I want to be able to let anybody buy it, so I don't want it to be too expensive. So I'm still working on that part of it.
We don't
The good news is I get the supplies I get these little coins for free. So I don't have to spend anything on the coin. So that helps a lot.
Who's clicking so loud?
That's probably me. Sorry. I was trying to get it back to stop presenting. There we go.
I'm going to go pick something up. I'll be right back. I want to show you guys one more thing and see what you think about it. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Well, I don't have any emails yet with any answers to my question.
Wherever you posted your email, I can't get it. So look over to the right in the chat of ours. With the answers.
Yeah, was Misty right in the chat?
Donna Presley sent me the correct answer, so she's going to be getting drill bits.
I don't know.
My email address is scrollsaltvideo@gmail.com.
All right. 8:39 is when I sent my answer. I'm messing with you, Carl.
Lee, are you ready for me real quick?
Yep.
I don't want this to be a commercial. I'm not intending it to be, but I just want to show you what I'm thinking about. I sell the books to make these little vases, different styles and stuff, and they sell pretty well. So what I thought I would do is here's one of my vases cut on the scroll saw, but laser engraved with basically a Christmas theme. And what I thought I would do, basically it's made up of 3 layers, the back and the front, and then however thick you want the vase to be. I can actually personalize the front of this for people, send them the front and back piece of wood. They would supply the middle piece.
I like it.
Yeah. And it could be, a poem or, anything you wanted to put on it, even a picture. So that's another project I'm working on.
You guys are so talented.
Excuse me. It's called having too much time.
I book fold in my off time.
All right. Well, we went over a little bit on time tonight because we went to 9:52 instead of 9:30, but it was fun. Anyway, I wanted to say thanks to everybody for being on the panel. Steve, thank you very much. Rick, thank you. Misty, thank you. Carl, thank you. And of course, Florence, thank you very much. We're going to say goodnight. Thank you, everybody on the YouTube chat. And we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Thanks, Lee.
Night.